This evening's presentation will include an overview of our co-curricular program, as well as some specifics on the offerings at our junior school in clubs and athletics, as well as our middle and senior school. We will also have an opportunity to learn about service learning at GNS, and we'll finish off with some Q&A at the end. If you do have questions, we ask that you please enter them into the chat, and questions will be answered hopefully during our presentation as well as at the time at the end. So the co-curricular programs at GNS consist of 4 main focus areas, those being athletics, leadership, arts, and academics. Recently, we have also added a number of opportunities involving innovation, technology, and entrepreneurship. We strongly encourage students to take part in all of our co-curricular offerings at GNS, considered to be really the other half of their education at our school. Academics and students' activities together really form the core of our program. For students in grades 1 to 8, participation in co-curriculars and activities is encouraged but not required. We certainly understand that families and students are busy with opportunities outside school hours. Whereas students in grades 9 to 12, participation in at least one co-curricular activity is required, and certainly more are encouraged. To get started, I will welcome our vice principal of our junior school, Gavin Bowers, to talk about the co-curricular offerings at our junior school campus.
Good evening. Yes, as Jacqueline said, I'm the vice principal and I oversee all of the co-curriculars at the junior school. Jacqueline, can we go to the next slide?
Yes.
As you can see, there's cross-country, and we have quite a few children who actually join that club. That's one of our big ones, along with track and field and swimming. But we have all sorts of clubs, as you can see, conversational Mandarin, robotics, French club, and games club. So we try and touch on all the different areas, the academic clubs plus the athletics. Can we go to the next? We also have, as it says, leadership club opportunities. The Skittle Club is a brand new club that has just started in about the last 2 years, and looking at gender equality. Round Square is a club that actually hosts a lot of different events at the school, trying to raise some money for different groups. For example, the food bank and clothing for different areas in the community. We've just started this brand new Kids Helping Kids Club, again, sort of just a local in-school club that helps kids to identify other kids who might need help. And last one there is the Library Squad, which is a group of enthusiastic kids who love to read, and not only just read, but just help out in the library. Then we have all sorts of other arts clubs. One that I'll draw your attention to, which is the picture in your screen, which is the Craft Entrepreneurial Club, which has just started this year. We've now in our third session, sorry, and seems to be a big hit with the kids doing different craft activities. We have a big musical theatre that has just taken off again after a couple of years hiatus, and then an ongoing club that has been with us for a number of years has been the Speech Club, as long as you can see the Drumming Club, Photography, and Stamp, which is actually a really interesting club to be part of. As you can see by the picture on these, the smiles of these faces of the girls, robotics is a really big club nowadays with the advent of computers, and this is a well-prescribed club with over 20 students in terms 1 and 2. Then there's our library squad. Again, a wonderful group of kids, students who love to read and explore opportunities with 100 to 1 book club, where they're promoting reading and also the collection of different number of books. That is another opportunity to actually help out in the community. And then wonderful picture of our young man on the drumming club, which is a brand new club, which our music teacher has just taken on and is well prescribed again. And then there's the more traditional athletics. So we have soccer across the grades 3, 4, 5. Cross country, as I said, swimming and track and field are our major clubs, which are athletics, which generally hit about 50 to 60 and even up to 70 students in that activity. So they're huge draws for us. There's pickleball, badminton, we've got some dancing, a brand new one, which is disc golf, and swimming, which has been a really traditionally strong club for us as well at the school, as well as a Trailblazers club, so a running club for those who love to get out and run on a weekly basis. And as I mentioned, one of my, I suppose, my highlights, just because I coached it, and for many years, has been the cross country, where we travel to a number of local meets, and then we compete in what's called the ISEA Independent Schools Athletic Competition, and which we're very proud to say that we just placed 4 teams in the top 3 positions out of 13 schools. So a really strong club in terms of participation, but actually the results as well. And there's a wonderful opportunity of disc golf, and the students practicing their throwing abilities with actually I would say a Canadian staff member who performs at the Canadian level. So we are very talented with all the staff that we have actually involved in the different clubs. And of course, another strong program is our basketball clubs, grade 3, 4, and 5, co-ed, and the 5s typically compete in 2 different tournaments, and a VISA, which is the Victoria Independent Schools Athletic Association, and the ISEA, the Independent Schools Athletic Association. Again, wonderful participation with over 17, 18 players per grade 5 boys and girls teams. And as it says, lots of opportunity to sign up. There is a resource board that you can go to on Blackboard, and that gives you the opportunity to sign up for those sporting activities. There are sort of in-house activities that are run during the lunchtimes. So typically they just come as a first come, first serve, and we have a huge response. For example, our pickleball club, which is actually for grade 2s and 3s, is over 24 students. So we keep them busy even at lunchtimes. And I'll hand it over to the middle school.
Jacqueline, Duncan here. Can you please confirm that you can hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Fantastic. Thanks very much. So yeah, welcome to our co-curricular presentation this evening. And if you're a new family joining us, welcome to GNS. Myself and Ali Doerkson. Ali, you able to chime in?
I'm here. Hello.
Fantastic. Ali and I are co-athletic directors for the Pemberton Woods campus. And as well, in our portfolio, we oversee the co-curricular programming, and so are eager to get that information into you this evening. But before we get moving through the slides, it seemed appropriate to me that we'd be having this discussion at the start of our spring term. In my opinion, it is the most exciting term for co-curricular activities. At Pemberton Woods, already our senior boys rugby and senior girls soccer have had away games and have returned victorious. Our senior track and field team have had their first meet, and it was very successful. And in fact, one athlete broke a league record in discus. Senior badminton is training 3 times a week. Allie, in fact, was out this afternoon with our senior ultimate team out in Smook, and they too came back with a victory. We have golfers to Uplands Golf Course tomorrow, sailors to the Victoria Yacht Club. Tennis had their second league match today at Carnarvon Park, and I haven't heard results yet, but we are high expectations for our tennis team this year. And that's just to name our senior athletics. Our middle school athletics is also fully underway with league play starting next week. And also with our academics, leadership, and arts clubs, they're culminating initiatives that have been preparing all year. And so it is a very busy, very exciting time. And as Jacqueline mentioned, the essentially second half of your children's learning. As we transition through the slides, we'll pause a moment. Some of the slides have some text. And so I just want to give you an opportunity to give that a read yourself. And then either myself or Ali may chime in, and then we'll sift through the slides that way. So thanks, Jacqueline. If you could go to the next slide, please.
Awesome. I can start here. So similar to how the junior school is organized, and actually just our co-curricular programs in general are organized, we do have them categorized in broad categories, which just kind of helps us keep things organized and make sure that we're appealing to a broad spectrum of students and interests and making sure that we can give them a well-rounded experience. So just take a look at some of these. There are some similar with the junior school. We've got a little blurb write-ups about some of these clubs, so we go through, but our academic clubs are typically clubs that focus on supporting or encouraging students to explore further in some of their academic interests. So some involve mathematics club, where students will come together and explore new ideas and areas of further interest that they're not necessarily doing in class. We've got homework club, which is there to support students prioritizing their work and making their way through their homework if extra help is needed. And I believe we have some write-ups on some of these other ones coming through, so I won't spend too much time on those. Jacqueline, next slide. See, we have another page of academic clubs. We have a very, very large selection of opportunities for students to participate in. And some of the clubs are school driven and some of the clubs are student driven, and where we have great areas of great number of students that are interested in a particular area. Sometimes we allow that to help fuel the creation of some clubs. Yep. Okay. Duncan.
I was looking at our leadership clubs. You'll have noticed that Round Square was mentioned at the junior school by Gavin. And so, yes, we are a Round Square school. And so we're in support of the Round Square ideals throughout junior school and Pemberton Woods. I mentioned that ideals is an acronym for internationalism, democracy, environment, adventure, leadership, and service. And it's those types of initiatives that are what a part of our leadership clubs. It's those types of activities that the students would be involved in. And in fact, tomorrow the school will be supporting the BC Children's Hospital for Jeans Day. And that's the type of thing that kids that are involved in Round Square would be, driving forward for us.
Outside of that, within the school, we have a lot of different opportunities for students to provide leadership within our school community. With Griffin Government, which is comprised of, we have house captains and we have grade leaders, and these are positions that students are elected to. So we're just right now getting our elections up and running for our leadership positions within the school. So today we had 4 very brave students, one a 5th student who submitted a video, who were presenting their head student speeches, which is incredible. And over the next day or two, our students and faculty will be voting for some of these positions. And so that's a really fun one. We've got the prefect team. So those are some of the elected positions as well. Athletic Leadership Council that works with myself and our athletic prefect who gets elected in. And these students provide minor officials for volleyball and basketball and soccer seasons. They're helping run seniors nights and intramurals, and they're building up, and you'll see a lot of social media posts, a lot of those about athletics are student created content. So there's opportunities for students in that sense. Cultural Club will run all sorts of activities exposing students to various cultures. We get a lot of international students come and proudly share information about their home countries and their beliefs. And we'll have international food fairs. We've had Lunar New Year festival support. And so it's a great place for students to be able to contribute there. And then our peer supporters is a group where students actually receive training on how to be a supportive peer and how to listen and help students problem solve. And they're a great source for students who may not be ready to talk to an adult, but they're a comforting ear with some training on how to help talk to students and support them when they're in times of need. So that's a great opportunity as well. Next slide. Oh, here's some more information. We'll let you guys read through those ones. So our student leadership, as we mentioned, also will, if you look through and are reading, we'll see they'll hit on a lot of the same things that our co-curricular programs hit on. So you'll see we have a service prefect, an arts prefect, student life prefect, academic, advocacy, house prefect, athletics, and community. So you'll see common themes throughout a lot of different aspects of our programs, and that's done with intention. Yeah. Okay, Jacqueline, we're probably good.
Yes, so our arts too are extremely vibrant. These arts clubs here that are mentioned are what we have through middle school and the senior school, and then will be some, I believe in the next slide, but we won't go there just yet, some specific arts clubs for senior school. But both middle school and senior school having dramatic arts performances throughout the year. Band is a significant part of the arts experience. And middle school, senior jazz bands, performing bands. Our senior band was in Port Alberni today performing. And in fact, they too were over, they were in Disneyland throughout spring break. Middle school fine arts is preparing for their dramatic performance in the first week of May. Next slide, please, Jacqueline. Oh, there we go. And so recently you may have seen the school advertising and indicating that we are making inroads into our innovation, technology, and entrepreneurship clubs. And I was in conversation with our director of innovation, technology, and entrepreneurship, Mr. John Hamlin, and gave me some talking points with specific to esports. It is relatively new to the BC school sports offerings, and it competes in the Pacific League, and the GNS esports team finished 38 out of 220 teams in the fall of 2023. Esports is one of the fastest growing competitive areas in schools around the world. Post-secondary institutions are now offering millions of dollars in scholarships to top esports prospects. So it is something that that GNS is in its infancy, but is looking to further develop. Next slide, please, Jacqueline. And then with regards to the additional technology offerings, Mr. Hamlin had mentioned that the NEXT Robotics League is, again, relatively new to the Pemberton Woods. And we've ordered some new equipment, and we are continuing to build it and looking to get that further developed. Our Griffin Life Media Club is run through our communications department, and it's involved in interviewing for social media, very much in line with what Ali was saying with our athletics leadership, working closely with them to get Instagram posts out and Facebook messages. And then other areas related to the co-curricular technology include special events such as participation of data analytics days and participation in the Kidovate entrepreneurship event at UVic with the Gustafson School of Business. And that's brand new this year for our middle school students. Next slide, please, Jacqueline. Give you an opportunity to read about Launchpad.
So as the highlight says there, this is our first year offering Launchpad, and it's actually offered, can be, depending on students' interests, they can actually get course credit for it or participate in it as a co-curricular. And ultimately what it comes down to is this is an avenue for a student to take an area of interest and to experience it, explore it in whatever fashion it comes. So for some, it might be building, moving on from something they've started with their science fair and they're super into it and they want to continue studying it. For others, it might be an area of interest, it's something that they're thinking about pursuing a career in, and so they want to get things started. And this is very, very much student driven. And with the help of Mr. Hamlin, they will work together to set them up with professionals and people with areas of expertise to help them explore those passions a little further. It's a great idea, and it is, like I said, can be both a course credit, or it can be an area of interest as a co-curricular, which is kind of neat. Next slide, please. So here's just some highlights from our middle school jazz bands. This is information coming from Mr. Thompson and Mr. Gordy, our amazing band teachers. Okay, next slide. Theater productions. Well, we're lucky to have Miss Smook on board with to talk service. Do you want to do a shameless plug about theater while you're here? Best go for the professional.
We do 3 large-scale productions each year, and 2 in the senior school and 1 in the middle school. And we also offer the opportunity for students to participate in the tech team, where they help to run the lights and sound projections, follow spots, and all the wonderful theater magic that makes the productions really special.
Awesome. Thanks,
Adrienne.
Adrienne. I didn't tell her ahead of time we'd give her a chance to speak. Next slide, please. Okay. Duncan, do you want to talk about debate?
I'll mention that, in fact, our debate coach is one of our faculty members, Elspeth Easton, and she was a graduate at GNS originally before she went on to obtain her teaching certificate. And for many years, it's been highly ranked and well regarded as a top level debate program in our country. Next slide, please, Jacqueline. Thank you. Ali did mention about Cultural Club, and it's in partnership with the Mandarin Club, organizes all kinds of special events, and certainly most recently was our Lunar New Year celebrations.
Okay, next slide. Okay, a bit of information here about our yearbook club. Again, wherever we can get students involved in aspects of our school that you may not necessarily think that we're getting students involved in, we're trying to get them involved. So being a part of our yearbook is great. Having student input in terms of what it looks like in design and what students want to read is what helps keep it current and relevant. and so we have both a middle school group and a senior school group. The great thing about the thing I love about our yearbook is it's junior kindergarten through grade 12. So you get a chance to see the students and everything that's being experienced JK through grade 12. And it's fun to look to see what the kids are choosing to represent our school year with.
I'd mentioned too that that photo is a group of, there's 5, those are grade 6 boys there. So right from the very start of entrance into Pemberton Woods, these students are put into significant roles in making big decisions that are going to be a part of that yearbook.
It's very cool. Okay, Model United Nations. This has been a part of our school for quite a while now. We're seasoned veterans with Model United Nations, and similar to our debate, we have a strong program, and our students tend to perform very well. We offer it at both the middle school and the senior school level, and so students are able to kind of experience all the way through. Some students do it as middle school students and don't continue on, and some students don't touch it as a middle school student and then join in not late, but join in later with the senior school, which is great. Students can choose how many conferences they would like to participate in. So if they have a particularly busy term, they might choose to opt out of one of the conferences and then join in one of the ones later on in the school year when they have more time. So there's lots of flexibility there. GNS is also hosting a GMUN, so GNS Model United Nations. So in that situation, we actually have, it is a student-run conference, and so we're putting students in leadership positions. They have been working on next year's GMUN for several months already. Committees are formed and students are working to bring hundreds of students from other schools to our school to share their love for this, which is fantastic.
I did mention Round Square earlier and alluded to the ideals, the acronym there. And again, this is a program that we support and encourage right from the junior school through middle school and into senior school.
Important to mention at the middle school and senior school level, there are conferences and exchanges that are available through Round Square, and all that information is shared through the kids and families through announcements, and both internally in the school as well as the external announcements. Some great opportunities. We've had students go to New Zealand this year. We've had students doing a service project in Thailand. And so we send students all over the world. My niece, who is also attends the school, was in Georgia at the middle school conference for the Americas. So there's great opportunities for students to participate in leadership initiatives locally, but then also nationally and internationally, which is great.
We did have 2 grade 8 students attending school in the Greater Toronto area just before Christmas, and then the students will be coming and joining us next week.
Yeah. Awesome. Next slide. Okay. So middle school and senior school athletics. This is just a couple of points about our program in general. Participation is always voluntary, and our focus is on the athlete and not necessarily the school in terms of participation. Although, as it says, there's going to be some moments of struggle. There are going to be some moments of amazing wins. And in our opinion, Mr. Brice and I feel like I can speak on your behalf. Athletics is a great place to build character. Through wins, through losses, through tough calls, and all those things, the lessons that are learned are invaluable. And so we always try to encourage students to try something.
Yeah.
Get yourself out there, give something a try. Even if you haven't played on a team before, we have a place for you and an opportunity for you to hopefully find something you love.
100%.
So you'll see here, it is divided. The first 2 rows there are available at both the middle school and senior school level. And then you'll see there are a few offerings that are only offered once you get yourself into the senior school. And this is just a breakdown of some of the same activities just by term. So you can kind of wrap your head around when things happen. You'll notice that soccer for girls and soccer for boys at the high school level are an opposite terms. A lot of the decisions that are made in terms of when sports happen is by LIMSA, which is the Lower Island Middle School Athletic Association, and then of LAVISA, which is the Lower Vancouver Island Senior School Athletic Association. And those basically determine our league play opportunities for teams at both the middle school and the senior school level. And we do our best to align the sports that we have on offer with the sports that are on offer within those two governing bodies.
Just indicating here, as we go through, we're not going to hit on each of our sports, but just a few highlights. Senior boys soccer, and they participate in the fall. And historically, we've had fair success in the league play in Victoria. And the Colonist Cup is the championship cup for senior boys Division I soccer. And invariably, from year to year, we are competing at that level.
Okay, next slide. We won't spend too much time on these, but just giving you a chance to.
Rowing's hugely popular, and GNS rows in the high school rowing league in the fall season. As well, we are in partnership with the Vic City Rowing Club, and the vast majority of our rowers will continue on with Vic City Club rowing through winter and springtime.
Okay, next.
Yeah, track and field's really taking off. Colin Adamson is our faculty member and track and field coach. And in about 5 minutes before this presentation, Allie and I were receiving photographs of the track and field kids up competing again today.
Next.
Yeah, tennis is been popular in the last few years in particular. We have, as they say in Canada, the golden age of tennis, and kind of this year's our golden age of tennis at GNS. A number of students that have been quite heavily involved in tennis outside of school have made their way through middle school and senior school, and we're really looking to make a mark this year in the provincial competition.
Okay, next. Okay. Our climbing club happens during the winter term. We have a couple of staff members who will take students off site twice a week. Students can sign up for 1 day or 2 days. They take a belay course and learn how to safely boulder, and then they have the opportunity to do some climbing. Also amazing is in the spring term, we try to offer an outdoor climbing experience. And this year, there is going to be a weekend trip to Quadra Island for some outdoor climbing for our senior school members. And just recently, the ISA, so the Independent School Athletic Association, has added climbing to one of the athletic events. And we took part in a competition up at Brentwood this past winter with students doing some competitive climbing, which was a lot of fun. Next.
Just before we get into sign up, as we leave the clubs, I'd like you to take away that we are, making a real conscious effort about providing team athletics opportunities and individual athletics opportunities, and athletics opportunities that are more competitive and some that are more kind of at a compete at your own pace.
Yeah.
And so with this slide here, speaking about sign up, firstly, I would say at the start of each term through our Wednesday e-announcements that come out as a whole school, at the start of each term and then through the term, we have an athletics document in there a co-curricular document that highlights all of our co-curricular activities and any particular details that we have. With those, you find them in that Wednesday announcements. And that's your kind of first introduction to what's available that term. And then as we get into the start of the school, through the senior school, the students will read through the daily announcements in the Pemberton Post, and then there'll be information as to how and when to sign up. In the middle school, they do it through the daily announcements, what we call our snapshot. And there's a bit more hand holding in the middle school for obvious reasons. But the idea, once we get to Pemberton Woods, is that the students are, making decisions on their own, and they do the sign-up process on their own at school. Especially at the middle school, because it is a fairly new process transitioning from the junior school, it's never too late. We always make sure that if for some reason a week has gone by or the announcements were missed or a student has changed their mind and wanting to sign up after the fact, then that opportunity exists. Less so at the senior school for obvious reasons.
Yep. I just wanted to point out one more thing out of here. The middle school, we do at this point have a no cut policy. So any student interested in participating on a team will have the opportunity to participate on the team. At the senior school, at the junior level, we try to give as many students an opportunity as possible. But in some instances, we're finding we're having to make cuts just due to the volume of students wanting to participate. We try to keep the number as large as possible, but still being able to offer a quality experience for students. And then when you get into the most senior teams, we're looking to take the most competitive team. And actually, a unique thing to our school, being the size that it is, we have the opportunity sometimes for grade 9 students to play on senior teams, which is definitely unique. I had 4 grade 9 girls playing on my senior girls basketball team this year. So that's something that's really unique and special to our school. And that's good for us.
Thank you very much, Jacqueline.
Thank you, Jacqueline.
Thank you, Duncan and Ali. So switching gears slightly, I would like to welcome back Mr. Gavin Bowers, as well as Adrienne Smook at our middle and senior school campus to talk about service learning opportunities.
Thanks, Jacqueline. Maybe we can go to the first slide. And just actually, before I go on to the service, you can go to the slide, Jacqueline. I wanted to make sure to give you time to read that. Just that the opportunities for the athletics at the junior school are all, if you wish to participate, we never cut. And we generally tend to start most of the major sports at the grade 3 level. We really believe that at the K1 and partly 2, we start to introduce a couple of activities, but that they have a busy day at the campus, and we want them to go home and play. And an important part of their education is actually learning how to play as well. Okay, so as you can see, you can see our service opportunity. Well, the definition of our service opportunity. Can we go to the next slide, please? Our opportunities, as was mentioned earlier, are through Round Square, where you can see a picture of these young students. They've collected some clothes. We do some food drives for the local charities. Like I mentioned earlier, the Kids Helping Kids is a really unique one that has just been started by one of our new members of staff. And it's kids helping other kids with different things. We have lots of opportunities where we have student ambassadors. So in particular, the grade 5s are involved in a lot of activities around the school with presentations, with leading dignitaries, people who come to the school, and they volunteer for this, and they take them on a tour, and it's wonderful to see them take on that leadership role. And expressing what they love about GNS. And another one we've got that actually will be running is a service day where we help out in the community. And typically we go out and volunteer, pulling ivy, helping out in different areas around the community. In the past couple of years, we've been actually focusing on one of the banks near our school, and that's to try and get rid of all the ivy that is growing there. So it's wonderful. We have all the grades, 2 through 5, involved in that. And the little ones, just because of the size of the bank, we actually send out further afield to do some cleanup of the beaches. And I'm always been inundated with waste rubbish that is off the beach. And so we've got a huge amount of kids who are really are, I suppose, involved in trying to make an important part of that environmental aspect of the school that we are trying to really promote. Yeah, so that's our service opportunities at the junior school.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you all for joining us this evening. And I am thrilled to tell you about what happens at the Pemberton Woods campus for our middle and senior schools. As Gavin mentioned, that one of our pillars of the school is service. Students in all grades engage with their communities here at school in our greater Victoria community, regionally, nationally, and internationally. Again, my name is Adrienne Smook, and I have the honor of being the service coordinator for grades 6 through 12 here at Pemberton Woods campus. Service is sometimes referred to as volunteerism or community engagement, but it's really embedded into everything we do in the MYP and DP programs. It's built into what we do. More specifically, service is one of the important ways that we build community within our school. It's how we reach out to our neighbors, and perhaps one of the most powerful aspects of our service program is that our engagement with service helps us learn about ourselves and the world around us. This next slide shows the 74 community and charitable organizations that GNS senior school students have engaged with in some way so far this year. Last year, the grade 12 class participated in over 2,300 hours of service in their grade 12 year and over 7,500 hours of service between the grades 10 to 12. Through service, students explore potential career paths, learn about themselves, as I mentioned, and create community while building skills and giving back. The next slide shows some of our philosophical underpinning for our service program. At the center, you'll see our core values, which are truth, courage, caring, individuality, and community. And around those core values, you will see, of course, the round square and the ideals there, which Duncan mentioned before. We are a proud round square school. You'll also see there the service as action, SA, and creativity, action, and service, which is CAS for the DP program. Those have learning outcomes attached to them, which I will get into later. And then, of course, we have provincial and our school requirements for graduation. Around all of that, you will see the First People's Principles of Learning, and I will touch on some of those this evening as well. Next slide, please. The three principles, First People's Principles of Learning that we'll talk about today are that learning involves patience and time, learning involves exploring one's identity, and learning supports the well-being of the self, family, community, land, spirits, and ancestors. And we'll take these three with us as we continue the slides about our service program. Thank you. Next slide. In the middle school, the Round Square Club continues, which is a really, of course, exciting part of our school, as students start their journey through service as part of the middle years program. They start to work towards the service as action learning outcomes. In addition to Round Square, service in the classroom, service learning activities also take place. And students start to look independently to find their own service opportunities in school and out in the community. In the middle school, students are encouraged to engage with a number of different types of service activities. They're supported to find experiences that are meaningful to them and the unique ways that they interact with their community. This brings us to our First People's Principle of Learning, which is learning involves exploring one's identity. And then the middle school service program, we really look for them to do that. There are really hundreds of ways that students can participate in service, but they tend to fall under 4 categories. These particular definitions come from Diane Smith's Service as Action in Different Modes of Teaching and Learning through the International Baccalaureate Program. The direct service, which of course is interacting directly with people, the environment, or animals and taking action to help. This could be assistant coaching or scorekeeping, planning and helping with events or in different school activities, environmental stewardship such as beach cleanups, invasive species removals, and restoration efforts. Really, the list goes on. And every year it seems that students are finding new ways of giving back to the school within our school community and out in the world. The next is indirect service. And this one is really about fundraising events or campaigns, food and clothing drives, hygiene drives, and one that is a recurring one at our school, which I really enjoy, is homemade cards and flowers sent to seniors' homes on particular holidays, which is really lovely. Advocacy is the next one. A few initiatives to highlight here are we have a number of senior school students involved in raising awareness for period poverty locally and globally. And in the middle school, grade 7 students participate in letter writing campaigns advocating for clean drinking water for all communities in Canada, to give you a few examples. The final sort of category is research. And an example that has been going on in our school, particularly this year, is groups of students and supported by staff, looking at the ways that we recycle and the procedures that we use there on campus, and coming up with new and innovative ways to further our programs for recycling here on campus. In the senior school, in our next slide, by the end of grade 10, students complete those NYP SA learning outcomes that you see on the left-hand side of your screen. They work on those throughout grade 6 through to the end of grade 10, and then they transfer over to the CAS learning outcomes. And you'll see there that they really are part of the continuum of learning here at GNS. You'll see that the learning outcomes include strengths and areas of growth, challenges and new skills, initiating and planning, persevering, collaborating, global significance and intercultural understanding, and ethics. This also brings us to our next first people's principle of learning, which is that learning involves patience and time. And one of the things that I really love about this program is that students do engage with these learning outcomes over many years. So they really have the opportunity to continually revisit these learning outcomes through different modes of service and in different ways and at different ages as they deepen their understanding of how they're giving back to our community. I lost my place in my thing. Yes, so in addition to Round Square, again, in senior school, that continues. In classroom service learning also continues. And students in senior school really start to explore career pathways through service. Lots of student-initiated and led activities continue, as well as service trips and excursions. And I believe in the next slide, there are some oh yes, there we go. There's service trips. In the following slide, we have an image of some local and regional service excursions that happened where they were trail building and trail maintaining the trails of certain parks and engaging in ecological restoration. This brings us to the next First People's Principle of Learning, which is, if I could just go back a slide, sorry. Thank you. That learning supports the well-being of self, family, community, land, spirits, and ancestors. And in reading some of the reflections that students have done when they've come back from these trips, they really reflect not only on the work that they are doing in communities, but also how much they grow from being out there and how much they gained from their experiences while working away. Next slide, please. These pictures are from a recent trip to Costa Rica, where students engaged in building schools. They also did more ecological restoration and the very fun job of turtle support, where they were following the practices of caring for the beaches where turtles were laying their eggs and the eggs were hatching. Finally, we support and celebrate in the next slide, we support and celebrate our students in their service journey in a number of ways. I visit their career classes, and their home forum advisors also help them throughout the year. We have many documents that we have updating ongoing service opportunities. We encourage folks that use Instagram to follow us at mygns.service. And we also have a number of guides that help students and families delve deeper into the requirements and provide further information about service. Students have the opportunity to celebrate their service through lots of in-class presentations and assembly presentations, and we love to highlight the efforts and the projects that students initiate through our GNS news and on social media where appropriate. And that brings us to a bonus. First People's principle of learning is that learning involves generational roles and responsibility, and everyone here at GNS helps in creating an environment where service is appreciated and celebrated and supported. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Adrienne and Gavin, for touching on the service opportunities at GNS. That does conclude the formal part of our presentation tonight. We do have a few minutes remaining. If anyone has any questions, I welcome for you to write them into the chat. I did have one come up through the presentation, and perhaps I can present this to either yourself, Ali, or Duncan, about students in the middle school, if they find that a co-curricular that they've signed up for is not for them, are there any repercussions to dropping out?
I don't mind taking that one, Ali. And so to that question, absolutely not. The understanding, of course, is that at the middle school in particular, these opportunities are usually new, and we really are encouraging everyone to give all of those opportunities a try. And if after giving it a concerted effort, it's determined that that's not for them, then definitely, you know, a conversation with that co-curricular sponsor or coach, and explaining the situation, and then an understanding would definitely be reached. It's, you know, no negative repercussions. Give everything a try, and if you've given it a reasonable try and are choosing otherwise, then of course we'd respect that. I hope that answers the question.
Thank you, Duncan. One more for you, or for Ali. What would you say is a reasonable number of co-curricular activities for a middle school student to sign up for?
I'll take that one too, Ali. Just for those that are logged in, I'm, in addition to the role that I'm speaking on this evening, I'm a middle school homeroom teacher, and so I've got a little bit more context in that regard. It's, you know, at grade 6, we realistically say, give everything a try. And the academic workload at grade 6 is manageable enough that the students can give everything a try. And a lot of the activities are short enough, especially the athletic seasons are quite short, that the idea is for that sampling. Now, to do every single one, would be unusual, but it's within the realm of possibility. And then the idea being that as you move through the middle school, you are, making choices and further immersing yourself in the activities that you are most enjoying. And then by the senior school, you're making some, realistic choices of, probably an activity a term would be reasonable. I would say Ali and Adrienne, you two have a lot of experience in this regard. Any follow up on that, especially as we move into the senior school, for recommendations?
Yeah, I mean, I think that each student is very different, and so it's hard to quantify and give a specific recommendation. Some students are very scheduled outside of their school time with their lessons or tutoring or other areas of interest that are from outside of school, dance, gymnastics, those types of things. In which case, there's just not as much time that's available. Luckily, in the middle school, the nice thing I would say is that the majority of practices happen either before school or at lunch. So for students that are heavily involved in activities outside of school, there's always the opportunity to at least participate within the school times and to be on a team and maybe just practice because you can't make the after school jamborees. So that would, there's always room for negotiation, and we're constantly having conversations with students about setting priorities and making decisions based on what they know they have available and what's doable. I would say trying to do too much is a common issue at the senior school level. There's so many things of interest, and students are pulled in a bunch of different directions. And because they typically are coming from our junior or middle school, where they're encouraged to do everything, now they're put in a position where it's actually not possible to do everything. So, but that's something that Duncan and I and any of the other teachers are happy to go through with your student when they have situations where they have lots of things they want to do, and we'll help them with the decision making on what makes sense, and obviously with the support of parents as well.
Thank you, Ali.
I have a question about service in the middle school. Adrienne, are most of the initiatives planned by the classroom teacher or by the school, or are students expected to come up with opportunities on their own?
In the middle school, it is a combination of both. There are planned activities throughout middle school, sort of larger scale ones and smaller scale ones, activities that are initiated by students that other students can participate in. But there is the component starting in grade 6 that they do at least 1 or 2 activities that they find on their own, or with the help of their parents. We do offer some tips for families as they start the service journey in grade 6, and the students are supported a great deal by myself and their home forum advisors as well, to find activities. Again, using the lists of activities provided, where they can go through and find out what is interesting for them and to try a few different things.
Thank you, Adrienne. I don't believe we have any questions, so we will end it off there. Thank you again to our presenters for tonight. And again, parents that are online, if you do have any further questions, please do not hesitate to reach out. We will be sending a follow-up in the next few days, as well as a recording of this presentation. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you.